Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today I want to look at Simple Rockets 2, a rocket simulation game which has just launched in early access on Steam. Now, you've probably heard of another game, let's say the Kerbal in the room. Kerbal Space Program has been the go-to space simulation for many for a long time, and obviously I have been a big fan of it. Simple Rockets was spawned from that. The original Simple Rockets game was a mobile rocket launching game that was in 2D, so you could control it on the tiny screen of a smartphone. It was later ported to Windows or desktop, and then there was also Simple Planes, which is in 3D, but Simple Rockets brings the full rocket experience into full 3D environment. And as you can see, I have this Proton rocket here, which has been built by somebody that makes it look good rather than makes it fly well, because this thing is not accelerating the way you would expect. In fact, it looks like they forgot to check their staging. So much for that. But look, this is just letting me show you how the thing is controlled. Now, if you remember, this was originally designed for mobile, so it was designed for like a touchscreen control. And, you know, this certainly carries over. Now, I can actually adjust the controls using WASD if I like, but who wants to do that? I just want to set my velocity vector, I maybe want to tell it to follow prograde, and it will do that. You still have spacebar to trigger the staging, and obviously this thing isn't going to go very far, but I think this is amazing because this is all done using the stock editor tools, and we should go back to, let's go back to the main screen and we'll load something else. Okay, so here we have a simple grasshopper that I've built. You know, look, we've got these, obviously we have these external things. We have the landing gear, we have the tank, we have the capsule, and all these things, as soon as I select them, you'll notice I can start tweaking them. So these tanks and everything, instead of having a huge number of parts like you would in Kerbal Space Program, you have a very small number of pieces that have slightly different functions. We have a total of 4 engines. We have a handful of control surfaces. We have a lot of gizmos, including things like pistons and shock absorbers, so you can actually build some functioning robotic style stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, look, I can take this and I can stretch my fuel tank and I can make it fatter at the bottom if I want. I can go into advanced tweakables and I can change the type of tiling, make it look different, change the styling, all that stuff. That's great. And then of course I can grab my tank, my engine, and slide it down. Let's grab these and slide them down. Bingo! Now, all these are highly tweakable in many ways. You can change stability, deploy angle. Let's reduce the deploy angle a bit. There you go. That looks much better. Not really. And of course, I can then fly that Kerbal Space Program. On the other hand, it doesn't have the, the body, the soft joints that Kerbal Space Program has, and that may or may not be a good thing. First of all, I think it absolutely saves processor power to have no joint physics. Let's put out the landing gear. Oh yeah, I need to pop these things out. Where's my... here it is, here. Click on this, and then I can activate the landing gear. Now let's fire these engines. Get off the ground here. Oh god, wow, this has taken a lot of thrust to get off the ground. In fact, is this engine even moving off the ground here? That's not a good sign. Let's take that. Obviously, I've made it a bit too heavy now. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Oh, there we go. There, look, we're starting to move. I should probably tell it to go point itself upwards. There, look, we've actually got it flying. The perils of rocket science here. And so, let's actually get that pointed straight back up again. We're kind of side-slipping sideways. Let's adjust that velocity vector here. Oh! Bouncing along the surface there. It really is a grasshopper this time. That's what I was going for. Legit. I totally meant to do that. So yeah, look, let's land this carefully and we'll go and we'll take a look at some other features. You can also add these sliders, which is a nice feature. So these let you, say, show extra displays and other instrumentation, if you like. Brakes. These can be bound to action groups and things like that, or other settings. So there's a lot of configuration available inside the game. Now, if you're not great at building rockets, that's fine. There's a lot of people that have already built some great rockets, and it comes out of the box with craft sharing built in. It's been in development for over a year at this point, and frankly, I was surprised it took this long to get here this far, but I'm excited that it is here, and obviously I'm looking forward to the day that I can actually play this on my iPhone instead. Let's start sending this over already. This thing seems to have a lot more thrust. Let's try that. Locked to the velocity program. One thing I have noticed is that its stability, its pointing system is really wobbly. Sometimes if you turn it 180 degrees, the thing will just get caught in this loop trying to turn itself the correct direction. You have a map, you have a full solar system available for you to go out and visit, a whole bunch of new planets to learn. This is Urados, and Tydos, and Silero. Cool. And of course you can still see all this stuff when you're flying around. You can still see your navigation stuff, and you can hide these if you don't like to see them, right? So you can still fly the thing using good old-fashioned WASD if you like, but obviously... Oh, nice! No Korolev cross though. Whoa! Almost hit the almost hit the escape tower there. That would not have been good. I'm running this thing at slightly lower than normal thrust because I think... Yeah, I'm going way too high. Let's turn this throttle down. I think this has maybe 50% more thrust than the real Soyuz. Obviously we have time acceleration as well, which is nice if that's if you're going to be spending a lot of time. There are ion engines in the game. You can tweak the engines too. Let's just take a look at this. How much have they done? Yeah, they've got like 4 engines. Oh wait, why is this engine not running? Ah, maybe just explode it. There. Don't need to carry that extra weight into orbit. Obviously, in the real world, those are 4 separate nozzles of a single engine. We have our, yeah, the cowling, the fairing. And we have a nice little working Soyuz in here. I think this thing could probably get to the moon with the amount of delta V it has. We don't have the delta V calculators. That would be a kind of nice feature to add at some point. Yeah, we're still running at high time acceleration, incidentally. Yeah, I mean, everything is configurable here. Can we turn... Oh yeah, we've got RCS, that's been activated. You can bring out the solar panels. Nice. There's no cute green characters screaming at you. That was obviously the big innovation that Kerbal Space Program brought. Yeah, Kerbal Space Program, as I said, the big difference is Kerbal Space Program's clearly a more mature product. It has many, many more mods, many, many more features. You're more likely to be able to find a craft that does what you want. On the other hand, I get the feeling, and I haven't actually quantified this, that this is much, much lighter on the CPU, and it will, of course, in a few months. Oh, well, I'm saying a few months, I don't know. It is conceivable that in the future this will be available for mobile devices, despite the fact that, you know, the latest iPad is more powerful than your average laptop now. You're still not going to be able to play Kerbal Space Program on an iPad because the devs would have to port the game, they would have to port the UI. There's a lot of work involved there, and I don't see it necessarily happening. Yeah, the control system is clearly more amenable to pointing and clicking. If pointing and clicking is your main way of playing a game, then this will be much better for you. Yeah, I don't know, like, I'm trying to find out where this is better than Kerbal Space Program, and obviously, both games have their strengths. This is a lot cheaper out of the gate. Let's ditch this. There we get staging. Again, we've got that, 3rd stage there. Nice. Yeah, I think this thing works so much better if you just choose slightly lower thrust. And let's get this thing into orbit now. It's nice you get to see all the bits and pieces as they fly around. And it has the same kind of maneuver node that you will find on Kerbal Space Program. So, yeah, obviously heavily inspired by that. No harm in that, I'm gonna say. You know, at this point, the Kerbal developers are continuing to develop their game. They've been changing out a lot of the assets, adding a few features, fixing a few bugs. But it's definitely a very mature product at this point. I'm wondering what the next DLC for Kerbal will be. I won't speculate. But, Yeah, still going to be a fan of Kerbal forevermore. And here we go. Neat, into orbit and everything. I wonder if the whole, I wonder if the staging on this thing works correctly. Kinda want to know. Be nice to know what the staging actually was. Oh, okay, that's us in stage, in space. It doesn't show us what the staging is, so if I've messed up the staging while in space, I could be in trouble. Okay, that's that. Let's point it downwards. Oh, no, let's point it sideways. I meant to point it downwards, but clearly I grabbed the wrong thing. Let's turn on the RCS. Yeah, let's actually just attempt re-entry with this thing. So you can point at the the retrograde vector, fire the engines, and we'll just bring it back down here. Because I want to see if this model actually has the full-on Soyuz staging setup and everything. The Soyuz, as we know, has 3 parts, one of which is the descent module. There's the orbit module, where the astronauts chill and do their food stuff, they eat their food, they use the bathroom, and then of course the service module that provides the engines and everything. Fun fact, in the early days of Soyuz, they used to eject this before they began the re-entry burn, because of course it meant less, fuel requirements, and it also meant that if this was still attached, this would be disastrous, so they decided it was better to eject this first. However, there was an incident in the 1980s, going to Mir, or returning from Mir, where the crew... there we go. Oh, great. Yes. So apparently the staging doesn't work correctly, and these guys are doomed. Yeah, so they ejected this module, and then they couldn't fire this engine, and they ended up having to wait 24 hours in this tiny module, which, as you know, is extremely cramped, and has no bathroom. That was not the nicest thing. Since then, they've obviously kept this module until after they've performed the re-entry burn. Let's take a look at what else we've got here. So the game does come out of the box with a whole bunch of standalone challenges. I mean, there's a tutorial at the top showing you how to build your spacecraft. You have races to hit various target orbits, target altitudes. You have landing practice. You have a shuttle option, which, if you're using the sliders, good time to find out. Here we go. Oh, okay, clearly that doesn't work as well as I would expect. Okay, I guess I do have to fly this using keys. Crap. That's totally realistic. Fun, nevertheless. I have failed. Let's retry that, using just the keys. I guess maybe I'm dumb. Who knows? Let's try this again. So using WASD to control this here. I wonder if we've got a pitch. Can I do this? Pitch the slider here? Oh, there we go. Positive pitch, positive pitch, positive pitch. There we go. That's the way to do it. See, you can still control this with sliders. We need more pitch. No, I'm flaring too much. Let's add roll. There we go. Roll. Okay, having some issues with roll here. Uh-oh. And the CPU punches out. It's nice that the AI that controls this thing has the wherewithal to eject itself so that it may live to fly another day. Okay, let's flight retry. I'm not sure I get to this target in time. Let's try this one more time. Okay, here we go. I think the roll and the yaw may be sort of not connected correct. Ah, there we go. That's it. So that's the yaw and the roll are mismatched. I wonder if that's because the thing is in a specific location. Okay, I'm still descending too fast, so let's try this. Let's try yawing that way a bit, maybe. There we go. Excellent. Yaw. Slow down. Okay, obviously going way off target now. But I do have enough energy. You know what, let's try rolling this to the target. See if we can get it over the threshold. Oh, darn. Oh, darn. What? And in case you're wondering, the Kraken does actually exist in simple rockets. Okay, so let's just finally try landing something here. How do I... 3 activate landing leg? No, how about this? There we go, landing leg, okay. And we do have engines here, so let's point this thing retrograde. I only have 12% fuel, 390 whatever meters per second of speed to bleed off. I'm going to stop firing my engines until I get closer to the surface here. 24 kilometers up and moving sideways rather rapidly. I guess what I want to know is how fast does this thing decelerate? Well, below 10 kilometers I'll do something to bleed off the speed here. 100% thrust. Ah, that's pretty fast actually. So I think actually I can get a lot closer. Now I just gotta figure out 100 meters per second. I think it's like 1 G deceleration. I mean, obviously it's gonna take more than 10 seconds, so let's do that. Let's bring 100 meters per second off my speed. There we go. And then when we get to about 2 kilometers, we'll take 100 kilometers off again, or 100 meters per second off. That's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. Obviously, I'm doing this without the aid of an Apollo guidance computer, but I think I can manage this. So now we're moving at 70 meters per second, so I gotta now really figure out how to bleed this speed off without running out of fuel. That's the hard part. 30 meters per second, so that's 30 seconds to landing. I'm gonna keep the engines just lit. I'm moving at 39 meters per second. Okay, let's slow down a bit. Now, there's no internal cockpit views. That's one thing that you won't get in this, that you do get in Kerbal Space Program. What else do you get? I mean, obviously Kerbal has those soft, jointed body physics, which take all your CPU, but also allow your aircraft to bend and everything in flight, which is pretty cool. Kerbal has the Kerbals. And it has fairly large modding community, so, you know, simple rockets on the other hand will be easier for people that can only use mouse to control. Oh. Just gotta... Oh. Just going upwards now. Ah, there's no shadows. That would be very helpful to have a shadow so I can see how high up I am. Oh wait, there's the shadow. I should slow this speed up. Just give me just a little. And even at the tiniest thrust, I'm slowly interacting. There we go! One small step for a not Kerbal, one giant leap for a not Kerbal kind. So yeah, Simple Rockets is on Steam. It has all sorts of rocket building options like other games, but it does stuff in its own way. All the parts are incredibly configurable. It's a lot easier to fly sometimes. It misses soft body physics, but hey, that makes it a different game and perhaps worth the $15 or so that they're charging for it right now. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.